Marxists skip the whole Darwin issue that there is survival of the fittest and naturally produced hardships that species have to survive. However, they don't talk about this naturally derived hardship when they talk about the cause of disparity. The only cause for disparity in the human realm, according to the Marxists, are the rich being greedy or capitalism. So, what do you have when the premise that all disparity and the pain of poverty are because of the rich? What do you have when that is the premise? Well, you have what's called a faulty premise. And if you swallow a faulty premise, you will lead to a meaningless or bullshit solution. End of story. Marxism is a bullshit premise and a bullshit solution. Let me tell you about a bullshit solution. This old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You take your car to a BS mechanic, right? And next thing you know, you're down $4,000 because you believe that something needed to be fixed that did not need to be fixed. And what am I getting at here? The only reason why people want to sell you on a bullshit solution is they want your money. The only reason why they sell you on a bullshit solution, like in the Garden of Eden, Lucifer was selling Eve on a bullshit solution. In other words, Lucifer created a problem that did not exist. He said that God had been unfair. God himself had been unfair, like the rich had been unfair, right? That he had an ulterior motive, a self-centered motive for telling Eve not to eat the fruit. And so since this was a problem, that is, if Eve believed the problem, he could now sell her on a solution. And the solution was to actually do 180 degrees opposite of what God told her, right? So the enemy of God, this angel's got a bone to pick with God over something, right, is able to get a couple of things. He's able to trick Eve into buying a solution that he's selling. He was really trying to steal. The divine principle says he wanted the same position in human society as being a center, the guiding force in the entire human society that he once enjoyed as one of the archangels and central figures of the angelic world. But humans were a different species, and he didn't have any control over them. So by selling Eve on his solution, she inadvertently signed away her rights as co-creator of this future race of humans. And that's how Satan got control over humanity, by that ploy. Okay. He got to swallow a bullshit solution for a problem that wasn't there. And he was able through that he was able to get her to sign over God's right of parenthood over the next generation, because the fruit was actually Eve's sexual potential. Okay. The tree of knowledge of good and evil was referring to Eve's ability to have good children or evil children, especially in her immature state. He was able to get her to bear bad fruit through immature sexual involvement, which means bad parenting or incomplete parenting, a type of parenting and a type of bloodline analogous to premature multiplication, as in like cancer. Her as actual lord of the destiny of the future race of human beings, he got her to use her authority over the future of humanity in his interest. Getting back to Marx um, makes a big claim that all disparity comes because of the rich or capitalism as an environment or economic environment to begin with. But that is a bullshit, faulty premise, because there's been hardships before we had agriculture. Okay, there have been hardships before we had, rich people. Hardship is a part of life. The idea that hardship is only there, not because of nature, not because it's a part of life, because of the rich, is to get you to join forces with a liar to overthrow somebody. And why do they want to overthrow that person? And what do we learn from communist regimes? They just want to be the new rich person. They're not against the rich. They just lie to you to get you to think that they're desperately against the rich, and they say that they have some reason. Now, who can't see through this? Uh, Unseasoned people or naive people or ignorant people, okay? And maybe disgruntled people. So Marx made this pitch to people who didn't have the internal patience or intellectual quality of seeing through it. They can't see that actually the idea that all disparity comes from the rich. There are people that don't even think about it, they just accept it. Okay, so the Marxists know this, so they don't like talking to sharply educated people. They actually like using non-intellectual tactics against the minds of people. For example, mass formation psychosis. Mass formation psychosis was used against some of the most intelligent people on the planet, the Germans. Most people don't want to be ostracized. And if it becomes popular to do something that's stupid, even the most intelligent people will submit to doing that stupid thing. And then after doing this, making this emotional decision to go along with the story, with the script, they rationalize, which is employing their really noteworthy intellect to justify the decision to join the majority. But a lot of times, thinkers will put the intellectual rigor on the back burner and make a rush for social comfort, because it doesn't matter how smart you are. Everybody knows if you've got no social capital, you may fall on hard times one day, and everybody needs a tribe. So this is not an intellectual reason for endorsing a political philosophy. This is an emotional, social reason stemming from the body's fear of ostracism and the natural law that says that there's strength in numbers. Who wants to lose numbers? But you're not really appealing to the intellect. You're appealing to the emotions and the body. And intellectual people find that embarrassing. So what they then do is employ their intellect to do what their body already decided. Okay? And they start theorizing about how Marxist Leninist ideas are the best ideas, and then they lie to themselves. So how do they protect these lies? They vilify people with decent rebuttals. They actually, killing fields is about wiping out people who have good reason not to believe the whole false premise followed by the bullshit solution. They are intellectuals who don't believe it. So what will the communists do as part of their strategy? They will kill those people. So in that way, communism seeks to perfect a form of ignorance. Okay, so let's say within the environment of the communist revolution, you have to be dumb in the exact right way that you won't get killed. Okay, you have to be dumb in the exact right way. So you understand why Charlie Kirk got eliminated is to train all the people watching Charlie into being dumber than Charlie. Why? Because if you're really smart and you can see through their shit, they get angry. They can't actually beat the argument, but who cares? They're got strength in numbers. So they employ strongmen, angry people. I mean, you have to look at the history of communism. It is not really an intellectual process, communizing a place. It is a violent process. It's a process that resents smarts. Okay, it rewards stupidity. It rewards spiritual weakness. What do I mean by spiritual weak? When you know that something is wrong, but you go along with it because of certain physical, social, biological pressures, that's not a lifestyle of smarts or brains or intellect. That is, you ultimately elect stupidity when you're scared into doing it. And then stupidity becomes the standard and you voted for it. Now, if you think about this, the other thing that Lucifer was doing in the garden was using other people's God-given rights against them, right? So he used Eve's uterus against her to populate a world of fallen people that Satan dangles in front of God, saying, look, these people are mine because I prompted Eve to use this organ to make all these babies. And that's how Satan created satanic blood lineage in the original sin. So in like manner, when we vote for the bad idea that is Marxism because we are weak or weakened by threats, what did I say? I said that it is about the perfection of a certain form of stupidity. So, so now the masses are all equally dumb, equally pretending that this stupid idea of a bullshit premise and a bullshit solution is actually the shit. Okay. And then they all get poor together. And what's happening behind the scenes? The ruling party is as rich, if not richer, than the rich that they deposed. So ultimately, it is not intellectual. And ultimately, it is a theft. Just like Lucifer gained control over the world by gaining control over the seat or of production of human beings by gaining control of the fruit, which was Eve's sexual organ. He gained control over the production method of humans themselves. So ultimately, I'm trying to just tell you, Marxism is for stupid people who are willing to threaten their fellow man, just so that the guy that set the whole Marxist pitch in motion can steal rich people's shit while you feel happy handing leader A, economic leader A, you take his shit and hand it over to the revolutionary leader. It's a theft. It is a theft. I don't know what to tell you. The people that killed Charlie Kirk, what if I said that was off? These people can't win an argument. And so the only thing that they can do is threaten the safety of anybody that will be as proficient in terms of debate and arguing and as clear, as successful as Charlie Kirk. So that we can't have an intellectual success with these people. They're going to kill all the smart people, leaving only dumb people left over, which is a form of evolution towards stupidity. Meanwhile, the entire ruling class is this real smart one who probably know better, but they ain't gonna tell anybody because as the ruling class, they're gonna end up with all the shit, all the wealth. Anyway, this is the end of 40 days post Charlie Kirk. I was happy to do the 40 days. And finally, I want to say, because the number of people that see through the bullshit pitch, we are at the dawn of a wonderful time in America.